Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 3. And if you have reached here, that means you are fully dedicated. Now I'm convinced those who are in chapter 3 will not give up and you will become full stack. Not just that, I think reaching here is in itself a milestone because a lot of people get encouraged after watching the first video and then everything goes away. So I'm glad that you are here. So let's start with understanding the JavaScript, not as a what it does internally, but we will understand this concept as a programming language, what all components it has got. Before we get into the details of what happens when we click on a button and what are the internal code we write, those things will come later on. Initially, we've got to start with how JavaScript has got a lot of things to offer. So we will understand the beauty and code by code. And I will try to map JavaScript coding very similar to C# coding so that you guys don't feel, alienated. You don't feel that I'm learning a new language. I'm going to make it so simple for you that majority of the people out here going to feel that they're doing either coding in Java or in C#. So that's the beauty of JavaScript. So if you see here, it's just an example of a web page, how it actually works. This is not how we start. This is just an example how internally it works. The way we're going to start is that we will discuss all the internal components, how we comment it out, how we define a variable, how different operators comes into picture, what are the data types it has, what are the type conversion. Once we have got the confidence in this, then definitely we can move ahead and create these beautiful, web pages, which will eventually lead us to our Angular project. So I'm so excited about it that all of you are so enjoying this much. Now enough of talking. Let's flip to Visual Studio and open a folder and create a folder of your choice wherever you want to create your project. Okay, I have given a name and I'm going to select this folder and we will be here. And this is where we are going to create all the files where we'll be playing around JavaScript. But before we do that, I would strongly encourage you guys to download something called Prettier. Now, this Prettier extension for JavaScript makes our life much easier, and you will realize that. So currently, trust me on this, and just go ahead and install it. Now, let's create a folder called index.html. The reason I'm doing it, I'll tell you, because this is pretty much the convention, and I don't want you to deviate from that. Whenever we are learning a new language, try to learn the way it has been learned by so many thousands of people or maybe millions of people. So it's just kind of a convention, nothing strict about it. Once you're inside index.html, click exclamation and hit tab. Okay, it will create a boilerplate code for you. Now in the body tag we will write our JavaScript code. I mean, it is not the right practice or the best practice, but for now just I want to help you understand two things: how many places we can actually run JavaScript code. Okay, so in the body tag, inside the body tag, let's do one thing: create a h1 tag. Why all these tags, I'll tell you as we progress in the course. JavaScript with, let's say, whatever you name or anything what you want to type, you know but I will give my YouTube channel name. And now just save it and go inside the folder where you have actually created this called index.html. Double click on that and then go to the browser. The moment you double click, you will see something called JavaScript with .NET Keycode. Now, there is something very interesting I'm going to teach you. Click on inspect and come to the console. You cannot just write code inside the VS Code. Here, you can write even JavaScript code here, something like, console log hello world. Okay, and hit enter. You see hello world printed out here. So this is one way of running your JavaScript code inside the browser within the console. But imagine if you're writing all the code here, this screen is very small. At the same time, API call will be very difficult. So that's why Node, I was talking about in the last lecture, Node becomes very helpful here. Now I will show you how we can actually run our JavaScript code the way around, and that's where VS Code and Node will come into the picture. Since you already have seen how to run the JavaScript code through browser, now inside this VS Code, there is another way we can run the same code. Okay, inside this, let's add the similar kind of comment. Okay, hello from code vs or whatever of your choice. Save it, and now again go back to the browser. In the browser, you just simply refresh, and currently you see hello world and undefined, right? Why it is undefined, we'll come to that. This is going to be very interesting. That's why I'm still telling you. A lot of people, just because they don't understand JavaScript perfectly, they think it's so complicated. The moment I'm going to refresh, you'll see something different. Now you tell me if you see the difference. The moment we see hello from code vs, which we just wrote in the editor in the node environment. But do you see undefined out here? No. Why? We'll come to that. That's where JavaScript becomes so interesting. And unless you have clear idea, majority of the people can't, fight it. And that's why they don't become a good React developer or an Angular developer because they don't understand the internal working of JavaScript. And that's where I want you to go slow but understand each and every concept. And that's where you become a solid developer, solid engineer, basically, not just developer. And that's where I want you to stick around. And since you already have reached to this chapter, I can assure you guys, you have dedication. I can already say that. You don't have to, I don't have to say this when I'll reach 20th chapter or 25th chapter. No, since you have reached here, that shows your dedication. And so I'm so happy about it. Guys, I'm definitely going to answer what made that undefined tag got out of the console from the Chrome browser. But I want you to figure it out and comment it down below. In the next chapter, I'll come to that and discuss about it. But do some hard work, try to figure out. Because see, memorizing things will not help you guys. So please find it out and comment in down the below. Now let's head back to Visual Studio Code and we will learn all other things about JavaScript. So guys, till now we have seen two ways of running our JavaScript code. One through the Chrome browser in the console, which I showed you. Second is through the Node environment, which is inside the VS Code. This is a third way. Now what we have done is like we have mixed HTML and JavaScript in the same way. So it's always not a good idea. It's a bad idea to mix CSS, HTML, and JavaScript at the same place. So what we will do, we will create a main.js file. JS basically does nothing but gives us extension. It's simply an extension to create a JavaScript file. Okay. Now we'll give whatever we want to. Okay. For instance, welcome to JS from main.ts. Okay. Now, how do you make HTML aware that your JavaScript file has got name main.js? Because when you'll be working in a real project, you have to create multiples. I mean, sometimes hundreds of JavaScript files. Because that's where, I mean, when we'll come to Angular and React training, then you'll realize why I'm saying that. There will be multiple JS file. How will you make your HTML file aware that your main.js is the one you want to call? So inside the script tag, instead of writing this console here, now what we will do, inside the script tag, we will call src equals to main.js. Okay, save the button and again go back and see the browser console, what it prints now. Now we have come to Chrome browser, right? And what changes we are going to see. Earlier, what we tried, we directly wrote our JS code in the console. Then we mixed basically HTML and JavaScript in the same file. And then we got this message. Now we have created a separate JavaScript file and calling it through our HTML. Now if we, let's say, hit refresh, let's see if it changes or not. It changes, right? Means our main.javascript file is being able to load it by HTML, and through that HTML, our console is able to print that. Okay, so these are basically three ways. There is another way, another way to run our JavaScript code. For that, we again have to go back to the Visual Studio Code. And guys, if you've been following my course in chapter 3, I think in chapter 2 or 3, I already explained you that what is the role of Node. If you haven't watched already, go ahead and watch the chapter 2, which is completely dedicated to Node, basically. What Node does is, usually in the first chapter, I told you that Chrome and other browser have got their separate engine to run the JavaScript code. But if you want to run it outside of that engine, how will you do that? And that's where Node solves this problem. Because in real project, when we're working in a production project, we don't, only console the log. Or we don't do manipulation like calculation, plus, minus, and name print. We've got to create so many things. We have to call the APIs. We have to store data. And so many things. We have to work on security. A lot of things are to be there. And that's where, as I told you, Node comes into the picture to solve this problem. Now, what will happen here is that we don't have Chrome here, right? This is just a Visual Studio Code. Look at the magic of Node, which I was talking about in the last lecture. Go ahead and open terminal in the new terminal. The very first thing you should do is to check. I told you to install Node. If you have already, then you must be able to, the moment you type this command node/v, sorry, node-v, you will see the version of it. Now, we are not in Chrome. We don't have a JavaScript engine running out here. It is just Visual Studio Code and Node already installed in my system. I hope you already have done that. And this is the proof that we have the Node installed already. Now, in order to call the JavaScript file through index.html, in the integrated terminal, we will just give main or main.js. First, let's try with main.js. You can see the message which we got printed from here. Also, if you like, or I would rather say you should, we don't have to include .js all the time. The moment you hit enter, you will see the same message. So look at the magic of this is the magic I was talking about of Node. That Node took all the hard work, which has been, our Chrome extension and other extension, which had got a separate JavaScript engine doing for years. Now you've just installed Node and you've got everything out here. So you don't have to go and forth between Chrome and here. Everything you can do here. So whatever the code you write here, you can literally see the output immediately within the same integrated terminal, right? Now we will start looking into the variables and different components of JavaScript, which will create our base so that in coming videos, you'll realize that you already have started coding in JavaScript. And as I told you, if you're coming from a C# Java background, you will not feel the difference because I will teach you in that way. I hope you like this video. Okay. In next video, our target will be to code more and more. And guys, as I always say, please do one thing. Please continue pouring your love because within a span of time, you can see already 40, 45 people have already joined. So I'm so happy that I'm able to help you guys. And I want to continue helping you because I want each and every backend developer or just a front-end developer to become full stack developer. Language is going to be your choice. I have no problem with that. In backend, you want to do Java, Python, anything. But please learn multiple skills so that you are relevant in this ever-changing job landscape. Okay, please continue that. Also, make sure you comment it out the question which I have put. Thank you. See you in the next video. In next video, chapter 4, I think, or chapter 5, maybe, I'm not sure. I will be sharing more and more code, and make sure you are coding along with me. Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's see you in the next chapter.